name is Harry. I'm from London.
Meghan Markle here.
Today is July 24th, 2025. It is 2:32 a.m. I just posted this on my community board. I don't know, all I'm seeing, well, not all, but I'm seeing a lot of establishment being settled with Trump administration with millions of dollars. I mean, they create a problem, they make the noise, and the next thing you know, there's settlement. Something is not right. Something is not right. Okay? The noise that they create around that before they get that settlement, it just seems a little bit fishy to me. Okay? So let's go to the back end of this channel. I mean, it's just crazy. But anyway, so this is the back end. 4,760 subscribers, new subscribers, welcome. Yesterday I was reading a comment. Someone said they report my channel to YouTube. I just ignore it. Whatever happens, happen. I'm not surprised by any of these things. Usually when I say something, I try to create get screenshot of why I say certain things that I said. So whatever happens, happen. I don't care. Alright, so I got a couple tweets to share with you, and I have several tweets with JTB and Sussex Netflix, Balcony, OK Magazine, Tubing, Copy and Paste, Baby D, and then I have some other random tweets that have nothing to do with Harry and Meghan. So let's go on Twitter, and I believe this is the first one. Alright, so this is the one that I bookmark, and it started right here, but let me read what I pretty much put on my list. If certain interviews with Diana didn't exist, the royals would have been much more effective at rewriting her history. This is a fact, yes, and they're still pushing at their own narrative. Okay, like for instance, they're saying something about Princess Diana did not want security and all of that, knowing.
In October 1996, Princess Diana flew to Italy to be given a medal for her contribution to humanitarian work, especially in the field of public health. When she had attempted to withdraw from public life back in 1993, she had insisted on her Scotland Yard bodyguards being permanently removed, apparently because she was worried that they might be spying on her. But without royal protection, Princess Diana was increasingly being thrown to the lions.
Alright, so I think I post that on my community board. Next tweet. Now, I have JTB video. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 of his tweets with his videos. This is the first one. Let's pause. Okay, Cynthia Wilson Jr. tried to drag Meghan Markle from a dimly lit room and a wrinkly hoodie, fogged up glasses, and day 3 dry shampoo. Sis looked like she's live streamed from a Cracker Barrel bathroom and thought she had the range. Be serious. Oh my god. I don't think I'll be the one who will be messing with JTB. Okay, you believe Kenzie Schofield or Cynthia? Let's unpack the stupidity. Alright, 4 minutes and 23 seconds.
If there's any hope of these kids ever being working royals, these kids are going to have to go to the UK at some point, meet this side of the family, and start to kind of learn what is it to be a member of the royal family.
Cynthia Wilson.
I mean, wait a second, before JTB starts. From what I'm seeing right now with the current working royals, okay, I'm not seeing anything extravagant for those kids to learn anything, because the current ones are not doing a damn thing. How hard it is to just show up and cut ribbons. How hard it is to do that. And then takes lots and lots of vacation. It seems like if they actually, the kids decided to be a working royal, what's gonna happen is that they have to dim down their lights, minimize, or be, like they told Meghan, be 50% less of whatever it is that they are, or they will be. Because there's Meghan already teaching those kids how to finance. Okay, they are what, 7 and 5, isn't it? Am I getting the age correct? Okay, already teaching them how to finance. They do with their vegetables. Do they want to eat it or do they want to sell it? This kind of thing. Do these people in the royal family knows how to do finance? All they know is that money grows on tree, which is the people. Money's coming in every day. They don't. That's one thing I've always said with the royals. If they go to college, the things that they should study is finance. Because I don't think they know how to finance. Because the money keeps on coming in and they always broke. Okay? Let me start all over again.
If there's any hope of these kids ever being working royals, these kids are going to have to go to the UK at some point, meet this side of the family, and start to kind of learn what is it to be a member of the royal family.
Cynthia Wilson, what the hell are you babbling about? You sat there filming a TikTok, looking like an unseasoned substitute teacher, lost in a conspiracy spiral, and thought you were delivering a commentary? Girl, what you delivered was a master class in how to sound confident and completely clueless at the same time. Let me explain something to you real slow, since nuance escapes you the same way beauty does. You believed Kinsey Schofield? Kinsey, the Meghan hater who's on record cozying up to P. Diddy. A man currently drowning in a lawsuit for rape, trafficking, and assault. That's your trusted royal insider? Not only do you lack discernment, you lack shame. You sat there with your dry lip gloss and scrambled thoughts, suggesting Meghan only got into philanthropy after Harry? No, Delulu. Meghan was in Rwanda doing water advocacy.
Okay, so the clip that he showed then said that. I mean, I'm not on TikTok and I don't follow a lot of people to know all the good things. I only go based on what is being shown here. So she said all of this, but okay.
Before you ever figured out how to pronounce Archewell. She was in soup kitchens, on Skid Row, at the UN, working with World Vision. But sure, tell me again how a woman with a degree...
What did you study at college?
I double majored theater and international relations, and then I went and worked for the U.S. Embassy for a bit. And
where?
In Argentina, in Buenos Aires.
That's insane.
How a woman with a degree, a global platform, and a work ethic could never be altruistic with...
And then let's not forget, okay? Remember, there's this clip. I think I have it, but very rarely I share it. Where Meghan, when she was on Suit, the leftover food from, from the set, they used to throw them away. And Meghan was like, why throwing all those good food away? And I could understand why the production people don't want to give it away, because it's food. It's going inside people's stomach. So if something happened when they give it to whatever charities, something happened, they're gonna be responsible for it. So they don't want to deal with that, so they throw that away. But Meghan find a way the leftover food to be given to a charity. I don't know, something happened in the back. Maybe there's some agreement, paperwork, if this happened, we're not liable. I don't know. I'm just saying this part. This is my opinion on that part. So instead of the food being thrown away, they donated.
As we've got to know more about Meghan, we've learnt that she is someone who is also very sincere in her advocacy for charities. Is that something that you were aware of when you were making the show?
I remember early on, I think it was season 1 or season 2, she realized when we were finished with the crew lunches or dinners that a lot of times they were throwing the food away. And she thought it was crazy. Why are we throwing food away when there are people that are hungry around and we could give it to them? And she'd gone up the chain to try to get this food to be given away to people that were hungry. And there was some sort of policy or insurance or some bureaucracy that was getting in the way. And Meghan, this kind of sums up Meghan. She sees a problem. There's some sort of impediment to it that doesn't really make sense. She decides this impediment is harming people that are hungry from getting food. And I don't know how she did it, but the next thing you knew, we gave the food away to the hungry people.
Unlike the royal family, what is it? I have this clip where they said that when Charles goes hunting and people, the maid, whoever cooks for him, they have to prepare certain boiled eggs before he comes in, and then it has to be a certain temperature, and by the time he comes, that thing should be ready. And if certain, let's say they assume he's coming certain times and he doesn't show up, and by the time he comes, if that eggs was there sitting there and it's no longer at that particular temperature, they have to throw it away. Unlike, okay, the comparison where Meghan wants to preserve and give leftovers or leftover food to charities, the institution, they throw things away. Meanwhile, people are starving in the UK.
And Prince Charles is one of the most demanding.
Charles likes, it was a particular dish he likes to eat when he goes out hunting, which is softly boiled eggs and Scotch whisky, waiting for him when he comes back. But of course they never know when he's coming back. So a good half an hour before he's due back, they start boiling up a batch of 20 eggs for 3 minutes exactly. And then if he hasn't arrived in those 3 minutes, they throw them away. Then they start another batch.
Okay, so this is just two little comparison here. Let me move this back slightly, like right here. Let's continue.
Tell me again how a woman with a degree, a global platform, and a work ethic could never be altruistic without a man by her side. The internalized misogyny is choking you. Then you try to sell this tragic little theory that Meghan and Harry are obsessed with their kids being working royals. Are you dizzy? They left the institution. They rejected the title. They said no to the pageantry, the press abuse, and the performative service.
And let's not forget, Harry always got the end of the stick. And he knows how it feels to be treated not like the heir. I mean, not that I don't want to speak for him, but we've seen how they treated him. And he expressed himself how he disliked it. Now, what Harry and Meghan are doing for their kids is that they want to preserve, because they technically bloodlines of the royal family, whether people want to believe it or not. And they are in line of succession. It's a fact. You could disagree or don't disagree, but reality is reality. They are in line of succession. What Harry and Meghan are doing, they are preserving their birthright. When they are older, they could make their own decision. They do not want to make that decision for them. Okay? So, and I think, in my humble opinion, Harry and Meghan are training those kids to be actually, not that they will want to be or will be or anything like that, because they're way down the line. And then by the time they get older, maybe William's kid will have kids, so they will be bumped further down. So that's fine. But what I'm trying to say here, the way Harry and Meghan are raising those kids, they'll be more prepared than the ones over there. Because with what I'm seeing over there, the way those people are behaving, look at William. He can even do some minor things. He's always on vacation. I may have some tweets regarding him being on vacation. There might be 2 parts to this recording because I have a long list. But let's continue.
Because unlike you, they know the cost. They lived it. But I don't expect you to understand self-preservation. When you willingly partner with Heather from The Hood, a woman whose entire brand is cultural appropriation and conspiracy theories about cupcakes. Cupcakes, Cynthia. You went live with the discount Ms. Cleo on TikTok and thought you were BBC. And then you had the audacity to praise William for setting boundaries. The only boundary William honors is the one between work and leisure. And he stays on the leisure side. The man skipped the D-Day commemoration.
There it is.
And Princess Anne is livid. Why? Because he was on his 6th vacation this year. And now he's in Greece on a super yacht. Not a diplomatic tour. Not a public engagement. A luxury yachting trip. On a $450 million super yacht. Opera. Flagged in the Cayman Islands with ownership buried in offshore shell companies. So not only is he lazy, he's shady. But go ahead, keep screaming about Meghan's rosé brand from your kitchen while your fave floats on secrets and taxpayer money. And before you open your mouth again to say Meghan doesn't care about Harry's family, I want you to look around. Look at your cheap overhead light, that peeling crown molding, that charity hoodie that's been washed within an inch of its life.
Oh, Lord.
You're talking about a woman who lives in Montecito, who is raising 2 children in peace, who has global reach, private security, and a Google alert on her name every single day, while you're fighting for attention on TikTok. And let's get one thing crystal clear. She is not setting foot in the UK anytime soon.
I don't think there's anybody else in the world that is better suited and placed to be able to see this through than myself.
But he fears negative tabloid narratives endanger him and his family.
All it takes is one lone actor, one person who reads this stuff to act on what they have read. And whether it's a knife or acid, whatever it is, and these are things that are a genuine concern for me. It's one of the reasons why I won't bring my wife back to this country.
Let's get one thing crystal clear. She is not setting foot in the UK anytime soon, nor are her children. Because Harry told everyone so. They are not safe. He watched what the press and the palace did to Diana. He watched them try to do it again to Meghan. And he's not handing his wife and his children on a silver platter for your amusement.
And then they tried to do it to Archie too. The South Africa fire thing. These people have no boundaries. They are freaking monsters. Literally monsters.
So, Cynthia, please. You're not intellectual. You're not balanced. You're loud. You're gullible. You're under-researched and overconfident. You built your platform on lies, linked arms with trolls, and called it commentary? You're a cautionary tale. The voice of the misinformed. The face of the easily manipulated. A tragic mashup of tabloid headlines, bad lighting, and poor decisions.
Let's see here. There's the thinking face here. Why does she think Archie and Lily are ever going to be working royals? I said there's no chance of that happening. We just never know, okay? We just never know. And I'm leaning toward her with that comment, but the decision will be left for the kids. And there's, what, couple years ahead for them to make their own decision. And they see what's happening. And from what I'm seeing so far and hearing is that the Archie, for instance, are thinking logically.
You either shut it down straight away, which I will never do, or you engage in the conversation and you try to explain things, but then it does. I mean, you know, Archie was talking about, as I said earlier, Archie was asking about landmines. I was talking about how some of these guys were blowing up. I think IEDs, improvised explosive devices, is probably a bit too much at this stage. But I found myself talking to him about mines as 5 years old. And interestingly, it gave me a chance to talk about my mum, his grandma, which I didn't even really consider. So that became the sort of the outcome of the story for him, which was he then saw videos, he wanted to see videos and photographs of his grandma Diana out doing her thing for landmines all those years ago. So it produced a very interesting conversation between me and him, different to what I thought it was going to be.
So by the time he gets older, he'll be able to put one and one together. I'm not talking about basic math, but in general, the logic, common sense of things that happen to his grandmother and his grandmother, meaning Princess Diana, his father and his mother and everything else, you know. So he'll understand. He'll come with a conclusion, unless if something happened where he had to be on the throne, and if he does, he probably will rule in a proper way, logic way. And I don't think the media over there will like it, because I don't think he'll be going in the route of the way that the current monarch is running. Why do people care? Like, who cares if the Sussex kids become working royals? They are kids. Alright, Cynthia, she tagged that person. Go outside and get some sun, dear. I love you. JTB, keep it coming. Unseasoned substitute teacher has me whizzing. Alright, I have another tweet from him. There's more comment, but let's move on. Damn, my arm hurts from the gym yesterday. I went to the gym. Alright, next tweet. Meghan and Harry signed a multi-year Netflix deal in 2020. It's now 2025. It ended. It wasn't cancelled, but somehow Samara is shrinking like it's a scandal. Relax. Even the Obamas restructured their deal also with Love Meghan. Season 2 is still coming. Stay pressed. I just realized I call her Samantha, not Samara. Okay. There's the headline here. Deal can Prince Harry and Meghan's $100 million deal with Netflix scrap and huge loss of revenue for couple. What huge loss? Did we just see what happened a couple weeks ago while I was on vacation? The rosé, the wine, sold out in minutes. Not hours, minutes, and many other things. Their show on Netflix, successful and everything like that. These people are crazy. So, okay, so let's say the agreement is done, okay? So from certain time period, they have to create certain content for Netflix, they put it out, Netflix is satisfied, times is up, and end of the contract. So if they reach their term of agreement, now knowing what we know now with their Netflix show, and Netflix sees the numbers, okay? They see the numbers of her show, how many people's watching, and the subscription is going up. And then Netflix is raising its price, from my understanding, or they already did. I don't know. But I know my husband is saying he's done with Netflix because he watch more TV than I do, and I'm the one who's telling him, no, let's skip Netflix because I want to watch some of those shows. So Netflix sees all those numbers. So you think just because their contract is up, they're gonna get rid of it? As a matter of fact, Harry and Meghan have the upper hand because their show are successful. People are watching. People are subscribing to Netflix because of them. Majority of the new subscribers is because of Harry and Meghan's content. So now when they are renegotiating for the next deal, okay, the next contract, it might even be much more than $100 million. So Harry and Meghan have the upper hand with Netflix. Unlike if their show were not successful and they were making the average numbers or whatever, maybe they'll still have the contract, but it will not be as high. Look at this. Even before they show their shows, it was $100 million deal. I mean, that's huge for not knowing anything that they were going to produce. But what happened is that, similar to Mark Cuban,
Harry and Meghan are incredibly marketable. I'd call them the new young Obamas. They're going to make an ungodly amount of money, and you know what? They literally could become billionaires over the next 20 years. If either of them came on Shark Tank, I wouldn't even wait for them to pitch. I'd be like, I'm in, whatever you want, yes, because they are so marketable. It'll be so easy to develop products and projects for them, with them, and around them. It'd be, yes. Can you hook it up?
Similar to Mark Cuban, the Netflix CEO saw the potential. They made a investment risk with Harry and Meghan, and lucky for them, it pays off. So what do you think the next contract is gonna be? Harry and Meghan probably gonna ask for more. Okay, but let's listen. I didn't even listen to all of this. But I thought based on the captions and the headline here, and I saw a couple other people were talking about the Netflix. I didn't know why, but I guess this is why of that headline here. All right, so let's listen. 3 minutes and 37 seconds screenshot.
More as ever, no more crappy TV shows from Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Why? Because Netflix has just cancelled their entire contract. Don't say I didn't tell you that this was
Cancel.
Samantha Gill is spiraling again. Can I call you Sam? I'm gonna call you Sam. Girl, you are screeching into the void like someone shoved a mic in front of a malfunctioning fax machine. And this time, it's because Meghan and Harry's Netflix deal won't be renewed. Cue the fake outrage, the clickbait headlines, and her usual glass-shattering voice pretending this is a scandal.
I mean, how many other companies benefit from Meghan shows? Le Creuset, some, I believe there are some, the clothes that she wears in some of those shows, people were asking who made this, who made that. I came across some of those from the squad. Okay, so many other companies, she's not even promoting on her show, benefited from her show. You think, I mean, do they, I don't even know what to say. Do these people feel any embarrassment when reality is there? I've shared some of those tweets with you. There's so much more going on because I just don't have time to show you everything, but at least the crucial ones I share with you. It makes noise, and they think that I mean, logic should speak to them. Since what? When did they start the contract? 2020. Now it's 5 years. Okay, and a baby in between, and then they produce. I mean, that's a lot of work. You have Phoenix Rising, I believe that was the first one Harry did, and another one with, was it, how many of the Invictus things that he did? Is it 2 or 3? And then there was Meghan shows and things like that with Love Meghan. I mean, that's a lot. And it's not easy. The research, the work, the production, and all of that. But anyway, let's continue.
Let's break it down for you, sweetie. Harry and Meghan signed a multi-year deal in 2020. It's now 2025. 5 years. That's literally what multi-year means. The deal is ending because it's supposed to. Not because it failed. Not because they were dropped. It's called completion. Try it sometime. But you'd never know that listening to Sam Gill. How does anyone even sit through her content?
And then the other thing is, do we hear anything about courts between Netflix and the Sussexes? Knock on wood, it never reached that. But if Harry and Meghan did not adhere to their contract, guess what? It doesn't matter if it's Harry or Meghan. If Netflix signed a contract with them and certain obligation that they have to meet within the contract, now if the year ends and then the obligation is not met, what do you think is gonna happen? It's gonna have to go to court, or they're gonna have to settle something quietly between Netflix. But I don't hear any noise. All I'm hearing, partnership. Okay, they're having partnership with Netflix, do many other things. So as a matter of fact, it's growing. Their partnership is growing, and I think it might even be bigger. And with Netflix, I think, I mean, I'm not them, and I do not have the mind to do all of this, but because of the partnership, I could see where Netflix would say, okay, this kind of a deal that we had with Meghan before, we may not be able to do that way, so the partnership is better. Okay, so they don't have to give them that lump sum or whichever way they pay them, that huge. Instead, they do the partnership where they probably split the profit or something like that. I don't know the deal. But I think right now, Harry and Meghan have the upper hand on making the deal with Netflix. All Netflix is doing is pretty much providing them the platform to air their thing. I remember I said a long time ago, that was before the Netflix, or could have been after they had the Netflix deal, where I said at some point they're gonna have to have their own network. I remember saying that, and I've repeated this a couple times, and I mentioned the Oprah network and all of that. Okay, something that they could follow. So at some point, if things with Netflix don't work out, they're gonna have to create their own network to show their own things, and then bring along other people, like let's say Tyler Perry. He's always creating things, and young and upcoming people who's doing shows and things like that. So there's a lot of potential with them. Okay, not that I have experience in all of this, but you could see how much potential, because Meghan have the background for all of this, and they are hard worker. They, meaning Harry and Meghan, are hard workers, and they have shown how much they could do. Okay, the potential. Let's continue.
She sounds like a raccoon stuck in a food processor.
Oh, what the hell?
It's giving chalkboard. It's giving strained vocal cords and zero media literacy. If being loud and wrong was a business model, she'd be a one-woman Fortune 500 company. And here's what she and her gullible followers always ignore. Netflix is restructuring, period. They're moving away from massive multi-project contracts and toward streamlined project-by-project deals.
Because many of the other people don't have that same reach as Meghan and Harry. Okay, this is why Meghan said she takes her followers. She didn't say followers, she used a different term. Okay, when she has a social media following, she has that platform, she take it very seriously. That means she respect her followers, her subscribers, and things like that. These are the same group that she's bringing along as her business is growing. Many of these people should learn that. And I think the reason why, one of many reasons, Netflix is restructuring and not making multi-year deal with other people, because they're probably not showing the same numbers as Harry and Meghan. Okay, so they're losing in some shape or form. But anyway, they know what they're doing. Let's continue.
Guess who else was affected? Barack Obama and Michelle Obama. Yes, the Obamas. So unless Sam Gill wants to get on her crusty little soapbox and say they flopped too, maybe sit this one out down under. Meghan and Harry gave Netflix Harry and Meghan, which shattered documentary viewership records. They gave us With Love Meghan, which, by the way, is still getting a season 2 this fall. Fully filmed and coming soon. So no, the content isn't over. The partnership isn't dead. It's evolving.
If I'm not mistaken, as soon as With Love Meghan, the last season was aired or something like that, how did they put it? They put everything out. Even though I think every week they should put a season out, but they put everything out. So people will sit and binge watch it. And I think one week they put one, you have the internet talking. The next week they put another one, the internet talking. That's the way I would have done it. But they did that thing. But as soon as they finish air, the thing With Love Meghan was made public, from my understanding, they already, if not, they probably already done with season 2. I think they already recorded it and stuff like that. So that's that. Let's continue.
Not everything needs to be a tabloid takedown, but people like Sam can't survive without inventing drama. It's not commentary. It's monetized obsession. And Sam, you better hope Meghan never disappears from public. You'd be out of a job. So you better pray on that. And the gag is, even Sam's viewers hate watch Meghan to keep her channel alive. So Meghan and Harry weren't dropped. They fulfilled the deal. They cashed the check. They told their story. And now they're moving forward, just like the Obamas did. Meanwhile, Sam Gill is still spiraling, still screeching, still clinging on to a narrative that expired 3 years ago. And the only thing more played out than her voice is her constant need to mention Meghan, just to stay relevant. They're still rich, still married, still powerful, and you're still screeching with a voice that breaks glass. And what's really dark, Samantha's actually celebrating this like it's some kind of win, even though this restructuring means real job cuts, real layoffs, and people behind the scenes who actually lose income.
All your favorite things that you've been watching for years, and you know those actors that you go, oh, there's that guy on that show. You may not necessarily know their names. You may see me on a show. You may not know my name, but you've seen me on a lot of things. Those actors are working class actors. We're literally working paycheck to paycheck. It takes $26,000 to qualify for your life health insurance for SAG-AFTRA. A guest star on a show, producers will do top of show. This is a verbiage that they created. It's not in our contracts, it's what they created. So they're not going to budge above whatever their top of show is. Top of show generally could be anywhere from $5,000 to $7,000 or $8,000 an episode. Maybe that sounds great. So say I cobble together 2 or 3 guest stars during this a year. People, our audiences sees me on 3 or 4 different shows and they're like, wow, that actress is working, she's doing all this stuff. I still, by doing that with Top of Show, I have still not qualified for my health insurance. We literally are going paycheck to paycheck. Back in the day, we used to have quotes that once you've been working for a certain amount of time, you're working really hard to get your quote up, to get your salary up. They decided to get rid of that, so they no longer acknowledge or respect that. This industry is one of the few industries that seniority, that being in this industry for a long time, that gathering up an amazing resume doesn't mean anything to them. They literally, yes, there is some very wealthy actors, absolutely. There's 160,000 members in our union, 160,000. 1% are the top grossers, 1%. And of that, maybe 2% are the ones that literally support and uplift our union and keep the insurance going. Everybody else is below the line. People don't realize that SAG-AFTRA is not just actors. We're broadcasters, we're stunt coordinators, stunt workers, we're dancers and singers and voiceover artists. There's a huge umbrella that we encompass. And 98% of those people are below the line, are struggling to make a living in an industry that we all know is making billions. I think about this all the time. We talk about this in our caucuses. Back in the day, we used to talk about millions. Everybody wanted to make millions, and oh, wouldn't that be amazing? These people are making billions, and yet they don't have money to give us just a scooch more to contribute to our pension and health, to allow us to qualify for our health insurance. We have actors that you all will recognize. You will know us from that guy on that show that have been lost their insurance, don't no longer qualify, and are hustling just to get a day on a job to just pay their rent, not even their insurance, their rent. This is a serious, crucial moment. It's this sounds hyperbolic or whatever, but it is a life or death situation because we're talking about taking care of our families, taking care of our loved ones, if our parents, if they're getting older. You always, as a child, you want to be able to contribute. Should I be at this age still asking my parents for money? No, I should be taking care of my parents. It's painful.
Job cuts, real layoffs, and people behind the scenes who actually lose income. But sure, Samantha, be happy about that. Be happy that editors, producers, assistants, and coordinators are losing work in the middle of an industry-wide contraction. That's what you're cheering for. Because if Meghan's name is attached to it, you'll root for anyone to suffer, even if it's the working class folks who had nothing to do with the contract. You're not just unhinged, you're vile.
It's crazy. That is true. The ripple effect of things. One thing I wish Netflix will reconsider is the show Pearl. And I think one of the things I said I think it was probably going to be about is similar to Carmen San Diego. Look it up, okay? So I hope they bring it back. I think it will be a very educational thing for kids. That's the laugh here. The Avengers, especially this Gibbet, is going to have a serious headache when Ness, she reads that at Netflix is the partner, meaning in partnership with Meghan Sussex, with her as ever, by Meghan as ever. Okay, there's all those hashtags also that Meghan's with Love Meghan is renewed by Netflix. Okay, the second part is coming because it was already recorded. That's what I heard too. As soon as the first one was finished air, they said the second one's already recording. If not, had already been recorded. Okay, let's be realistic. If her shows were successful, Netflix would not have let her go. Where did she go? Where did they come across where Netflix let Meghan go? I mean, these people are unhinged. Meghan Markle multi-year deal with Netflix, reportedly worth $100 million, will not be renewed when it expired September 2025. Reports indicate that the decision was mutual and amicable, reflecting a shift in Netflix content strategy away from large multi-project celebrity deals. So they didn't let her go, it's just that the contract is up. Who's writing this? Is it from the Daily Fail? Because the Daily Fail will always twist things. The contract is up, just like JTB just said in the video. While the multi-year deal is ending, there it is, Meghan and Harry are reported considering a first look deal with Netflix, similar to the one the streamer has with Barack and Michelle Obama's Higher Ground production. Where do they get this? It's a PR message for damage control. Meghan Markle also lost the Spotify deal. If this is a path of success. With the Spotify, I just think things didn't align with them. But are they being placed someplace else with Lemonada? Whatever. People will switch their words anyway. There's this, you could pause and read it. Okay? And also, this is what these people are craving for, including her wine. You see in one of the recordings that I did yesterday with Richard Eden. All right, they want negativity. They don't care how successful Meghan's work is. They just want to trash it. These people are sick. They are sick because all they are looking for is to spread negativity. If it's successful, we see how it's going. They're losing their mind. Now they create this narrative. Now, did Harry and Meghan come and say anything about their project? Okay. If we don't hear directly from Harry and Meghan, as far as I'm concerned, this is just things that's being going around. Okay, they write anything that they want, and then so for them to keep on writing and complain. All right. So look at the screen. There's some screenshot about Netflix thing that I was looking into, and Netflix will be like a dummy to let them go if that's the case, because their projects so far on Netflix have done pretty well. Even if Netflix decided to drop them, okay, let's say they didn't renew their project, even though Meghan have already said they partner with Netflix. Keep that in mind. Everything else that I'm saying is opinion. Even if Netflix were to drop them, Netflix is not the only one. Okay, the only streamer to be doing that, to be streaming people's work. They could make deal with other companies, even though we know and I'm aware of where the institution is trying to undermine the Sussexes, especially Meghan. They already tried to undermine Meghan with Netflix. Okay, giving, look at the screen again. There's a screenshot of the thumbnails that spoke about that. And it's allegedly, nobody have confirmed if that was the truth or not. Where they try to work with Netflix, where Netflix to not work with Meghan, and then they will give, I guess, some rights of their projects, their documentary and things like that. Okay, so they will try to undermine anything that Meghan is doing. Now, I've said this many times. At one point, I think Meghan should create her own network. If she could have bought Oprah's network, that would have been great. She will have control of her things. You know, make deals with Tyler Perry, because Oprah had shown a lot of Tyler Perry's work on the O network. But which I've shared before and I've shown you before, that Oprah is selling it because she's getting old. I don't think she needs the money anymore, but she's selling her network. And I think her percentage is not that much with On. So at one point, I think Meghan should create her own network. I've said this a very long time because so many people are trying to undermine her work. So she will have to have her own. And right now is not the time for her to create. She's building her empire, you know, bringing income, save some money to eventually this is what she has to do. And this environment, the way the country is going right now, she just have to wait. Even if she has the money to create it, she just have to wait. And then at some point, create it and she could air her own show. So she doesn't have to rely on those other networks where the firm, the royal family is trying to undermine her work for people to not work with her. But anyway, let's get back to the original recording. Because the last thing I remember hearing from Meghan's mouth herself, is that they partnered with Netflix. Okay, you're supposed to give me life. Page 6. Oh, forget that. You could pause and read this. Alright? You could pause and read this. I'm not hearing anything where there's lawsuit, there's anything. It's just that the contract ends. What did they expect? Was it a lifetime contract? My goodness. Getting a first look means Netflix get a first look on their future project, but that means they can also take higher bids from other platforms and companies. You gotta be guaranteed money to get this type of deal. What is with these idiots? Not even haters act this crazy. They are definitely undercover friends. Like, why does she care? Does it put money in her pocket? I guess her content. What's happening with Meet Me at the Lake? I forgot about that. Yeah, it's been 2 years. Is it ready for the next phase? Okay, this thing takes time. Still screeching with a voice that breaks glass. I'm screaming. All right, let's go to the next tweet. That's another tweet with JBT. Maybe after I finish with his videos. Oh no, there's a couple Netflix things, so maybe I'll put these. Okay, Lord Voldemort Prince William goes to Wimbledon, skip the D-Day commemoration, jetted off on his 6th vacation this year, but magically reappear for a football match, and people wonder why King Charles wants Harry and Meghan back. At least they showed up and did the work. Lord Voldemort goes to Wimbledon, skip D-Day, sails off to Greece, and makes time for a football match. This is Britain's future king. As I'm reading some of these things and seeing William's behavior, I'm thinking of that, was it King Frederick's son? When he first came to power after his mother abdicated, you know, step aside, retired, and he had to go to do business outside of the country. And his son, I think his son at that time, either 18 or 19, took over and stepped up. The UK did not train their heirs for that position. I guess I had to blame men in grey suit. Oh my God, again it goes back to after the Queen's father died. Okay, let me not go there. Did I listen to this? Not yet. 2 minutes and 10 seconds.
So Lord Voldemort has finally decided to pencil in some royal duty. And surprise, surprise, it's a football match. The only thing this man consistently shows up for are football matches and luxury vacations. Everything else? Missed, postponed, or conveniently delegated. Let's talk facts. He's on his 6th vacation in 7 months. He just skipped the D-Day commemoration. You know, the one honoring veterans who fought for his grandmother's legacy. And now, even Princess Anne is fed up with his absence. The monarchy is rotting from the inside out. While William is stretched out on a yacht in Greece, like he's auditioning for a Rich Kids of Mykonos reboot. But now that the Lionesses are in the Euro final, now he remembers he's the FA president. Give us a break. This isn't duty. This is about camera time. He's allergic to responsibility.
Is he still the Football Association patron or something like that? There was something that happened not too long ago. Let me pause and go look. Yeah, that's what I thought. This is what I wrote on ChatGPT. Is Prince William still FA president? Prince William is no longer the president of the English Football Association, FA. He stepped down in July 2024 after serving in the role from 2006 to 2024. He has since taken on the role of patron of the FA. Oh, okay, there's still some connection, I guess. Patron, which is seen as a more ceremonial position, allowing him greater flexibility to focus on other royal and personal commitment. Like what? More vacation? Okay, so he's not the president, but he's the patron. But okay, go back to X, Twitter. All right, let's continue.
But addicted to applause. And if there's a stadium, a trophy, or a curated photo op, Lord Voldemort is suddenly booked and busy. He doesn't show up for veterans. We know Harry would. He doesn't show up for the Commonwealth. He doesn't even show up for his own nation's biggest historic anniversaries. And yet, we're supposed to believe this man is the future of the monarchy? This is exactly why the rumor mills are buzzing. That King Charles might actually want Meghan and Harry back. Because they're the only ones doing real work. While willy-nilly is MIA,
And the way Charles is treating Harry, there's no incentive for the Sussexes. They're doing much better by themselves without Charles. Remember, Charles was saying to Harry that there's no money for Meghan?
Driving us out into the fields, asked about Meg. Not with great interest, just casually. Still, he didn't always ask, so I was pleased. She's good, thanks. Does she want to carry on working? Say again. Does she want to keep on acting? Oh, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't think so. I expect she'll want to be with me, doing the job, you know, which would rule out Suits, since they film in Toronto. I see. Well, darling boy, you know there's not enough money to go around. I stared. What was he banging on about? He explained, or tried to. I can't pay for anyone else. I'm already having to pay for your brother and Catherine. I flinched. Something about his use of the name Catherine. I remembered the time he and Camilla wanted Kate to change the spelling of her name, because there were already 2 royal ciphers with a C and a crown above. Charles and Camilla? It would be too confusing to have another. Make it Catherine with a K, they suggested. I wondered now what came of that suggestion. I turned to Willie, gave him a look that said, "You listening to this?" His face was blank. Pa didn't financially support Willie and me and our families out of any largesse. That was his job. That was the whole deal. We agreed to serve the monarch, go wherever we were sent, do whatever we were told, surrender our autonomy, keep our hands and feet inside the gilded cage at all times, and in exchange the keepers of the cage agreed to feed and clothe us. Was Pa, with all his millions from the hugely lucrative Duchy of Cornwall, trying to say that our captivity was starting to cost him a bit too much? Besides which, how much could it possibly cost to house and feed Meg? I wanted to say, she doesn't eat much, you know, and I'll ask her to make her own clothes, if you like. It was suddenly clear to me that this wasn't about money. Pa might have dreaded the rising cost of maintaining us, but what he really couldn't stomach was someone new dominating the monarchy, grabbing the limelight. Someone shiny and new coming in and overshadowing him, and Camilla. He'd lived through that before and had no interest in living through it again.
Now they're making their own money. They don't need the institution. So if Charles really needed the Sussexes, he would have behaved differently. And then I think Harry said there have to be accountability. They have to acknowledge what they did to him. From what I'm seeing, these people, they're never wrong. They don't want to admit they were wrong. So Harry and Meghan continue with their lives. Let's continue.
Treating duty like a buffet option, the Sussexes built global platforms, drove massive charitable engagement, and even helped restart communications between the monarchy and the family. Behind closed doors, Charles is reportedly exploring ways to reinstall them. Especially with his health concerns and mournful tears, the palace lacks genuine purpose without their presence. In short, you've got one brother who wakes up for photo ops and vacays, and another who gets shit done. And the king knows it, and the British people know it. The result? A palace strategy pivot in real time. And if the throne is going to mean anything in the 21st century, it might hinge on bringing real workers back into the family fold.
A couple things. One, I said if Meghan goes back, I'm done. I'm not gonna be talking about them because the way they treated her, unforgivable. Second, if the monarchy exists, I hope, if let's say Harry were to go back, because Harry is a monarchist. Let's see it for what it is, because he come from that family, but he understand reality though. But if he goes back to help the institution, the institution will have to benefit the entire country. It cannot be for just a few, the way it's going right now. Okay? But yeah, it's done. The video is done. Let's read some of the comments here. Alright, this dude is amazing, hilarious, and so on target. The commentary is incendiary, caustic, and humor, sarcasm is top notch. Love it. There's that. Sussex Squad fans always proving loudly how pathetically stupid they actually are. YouTuber, I mean, you here listening, so it's obvious it catch your attention. But whatever, you could finish with it. There's one comment under here. Let's see what some people are saying. But your faves don't even do that per week. Why aren't you focusing on that? Why are William and Kate not even doing the bare minimum? Why aren't you knickers and a twist over them, but you all involved with the royals who bounce and have their own venture, businesses, and don't rely on public funds? There's that. I guess tricking the people to get money from the taxpayers is the way to go for these people. But there's Harry and Meghan, you know, producing their own thing, making their own money. They think that's stupid, but okay, whatever. Oh, not that one. There's just no word. Marchioness of Manhattan. Just no word. But yet they're following. The others are taking money left and right, but the people are left starving. Just look at the US. It works so well in the UK, they're passing it on over here in the US. Not that I give a horse hoof about the lazy whistle unless it relates to Meghan, but your script for this video is really good, and that's saying something because all of your videos are top notch. William and his equally lazy wives are beyond pathetic. They simply don't care. Yeah, they don't care. There's that, there's the clap, whatever is here, that's it. Prince William represents Britain royal family at the international ceremony at Omaha Beach. Nobody wants the two effing grifted. But why they keep on calling them to come? They should leave them alone.
You know, my family do makeup. I do think they need to make up, but I don't think this country is a safe place for Meghan or Harry. I think the racism that Meghan receives is despicable, and I think Harry's quite right to keep his family and his children safe from the despicable hate.
Claudia, what do you think? Should they come back? Because we lost. Obviously, Andrew doesn't do any engagements.
Yeah.
Who else has we've lost? Well, Kate has been quieter for obviously she's been unwell. Obviously
the Queen and
Charles as well.
was a big loss.
Yes, yes, and then. So the thought is we really need them to get our shoulders to the wheel.
I think the future of the royal family depends on
Thanks, David. Thank you. Caroline Cornwall, hi.
Hi.
What do you think? Should they come back?
Yes, I do.
Go on, to carry the load.
Pardon?
To carry the load.
I don't know what you mean by that.
What I mean is to do some of the royal duties that aren't being done by the many people we listed earlier.
Yes. Yes.
Alright, that's black. They don't want, but they keep on mentioning every day. If you are in the UK, I'm sure every day they're talking about them in those morning shows. There's a laugh here. You're hilarious. The king definitely does not want Harry and the golden digger back. Leave them alone. Just leave them alone. Harry and Meghan are minding their own business. You bother them. If it needs to go to court, they take you to court. Okay, so let's black. They all here complaining, so let me just black you. Takes your med. He's telling the truth. Black. Alright, why don't all fight gossip? Okay, just black. That's all they could do. Come and complain. Okay, must be nice. Good for Prince and Princess of Wales. I hope they have an amazing trip with their beautiful children. Yeah, okay, but the people that they're supposed to serve are starving. Alright, so let's leave that alone. Next tweet. Okay. I might have to stop this recording and then, yeah, let me put 2 more after this. Alright, next one. The same people who spent 7 years bullying Meghan Markle, Meghan Sussex, over nail polish, baby bump, and toast are now crying over Mal, Will, and Kate criticism. We're done playing defense. We're hitting back. Okay, you bully Meghan for years, now Kate's getting mild criticism, and suddenly it's bullying. Be serious. Okay, 2 minutes and 56 seconds. Screenshot.
Oh, now you want to cry foul. Now you want to scream hypocrisy?
Oh, what happened?
Because people are finally holding Kate Middleton and Prince William to the same standard you've weaponized against Harry and Meghan for years. You're choking on a fraction of the smoke Meghan gets. And quite frankly, I live for it. You don't get to play victim because your Duchess Mumbelina is catching a little heat. This is the consequence of years of unchecked, racist, misogynistic abuse hurled at Meghan while you clutch your pearls and pretend it's all just criticism. Where was this energy when Meghan was being hunted by the British press like a blood sport? Where were your moral outrage threads then? Let me be crystal clear. This isn't hypocrisy. This is balance. This is reciprocity. You want equality? Welcome to it. We're no longer playing defense. We're not here to shield Meghan from your vile takes. While Kate gets to glide through scandal after scandal, draped in a coat dress and media protection. This isn't some sudden attack on Kate. This is you finally seeing what happens when the internet stops curtsying to white mediocrity. You gagged on Meghan's every move. Her nail polish, her baby bump, her avocado toast. And now, when Kate blinks wrong or disappears for months and people ask questions, it's leave her alone? Abso-fucking-lutely not. Not when people have made it their full-time job to dissect a woman of color's every breath. And let's talk about who's doing all this fake crying. You all love to run your mouths behind no profile pics and usernames with 6 numbers. You're private when you're bold and anonymous when you're loud. It's giving coward. It's giving protection. It's giving, I can't show my face because I'm ugly inside and out. If you can't even show your face, why should we take your outrage seriously? You don't even believe in your own opinions enough to attach your real name to them. But you believed every made-up story about Meghan like it was scripture. You've built whole digital identities around hating a woman you don't even know. And now that you're catching the teeniest whiff of pushback, you want to cry foul? You made the rules. We're just playing your game better than you ever could. And let me tell you something else. You're not...
That's what I'm saying about Meghan. She understands how the palace works now, how they manipulate things, how they do things, and she understands it. Yeah. And I think that's exactly what he said here. Let me move it back slightly here.
Foul. You made the rules. We're just playing your game better than you ever could.
That's
and
it.
Let me tell you something else. You're not built for offense. You've lived too long in your comfortable echo chamber, skewing recycled Daily Fail headlines while convincing yourself you're the moral compass. That's the hypocrisy. But the moment we grab the mic, the moment we clap back with facts, poise, and receipts, you fall apart. You cry double standard. You whimper, but Kate... Fuck that. You don't get grace you never gave. So if this feels unfair to you, congratulations. You're finally understanding what Meghan's faced every single day for 7 years straight. Now imagine going through that while pregnant. Imagine going through that while suicidal. Imagine going through that while being right. So don't cry to us about hypocrisy. Cry to the editors you believe. Cry to the influencers who sold you propaganda. Cry to the monarchy that let it all happen. But do not ever expect silence from us again.
Oh my God, this is what Princess Diana needed. This is what she needed when she was alive. There's the clap here, not mumbles. People are clapping. Pulled covers off. There's that. Brilliant as always. Okay, as always, bravo. Alright, so, there's this here. I don't even want to read that. You could pause and read it. I'm gonna go to the next one. Alright, so I am done with his videos. I have 2 more I'm gonna add to this list, and I have more, and I'll create another video. Daddy fell on Sussex Netflix. Is that the video? No. People, Netflix does not plan on renewing the Sussexes production deal. Okay, so there's that. I can't believe I'm saying this, but page 6 has a way better write-up and confirms my initial thought. It will be a first look deal, and they still have TV projects coming, and Ted is a massive fan of theirs. Okay, Meghan Markle has halted her Confession of a Female Founder podcast as her multi-million-dollar Netflix deal with Prince Harry comes to its end. Multiple sources tell page 6. As page 6 exclusively revealed, earlier this month, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex are poised to sign a first-look deal with the streamer when their exclusive deal ends later this year. They are set to follow in the footsteps of former President Barack Obama and his wife Michelle Obama, whose production company Higher Ground now has a similar deal with Netflix. Yeah, they just have to renegotiate. That's all. Okay, ASOS told us there are more TV projects coming soon with both the Duke and Duchess. I mean, with the amount of noise that they made with their projects, you think Netflix is gonna let them go? Please. Despite this, an insider pointed out that With Love Meghan was actually in the top 5% of Netflix shows, ranking 383 out of 7,500, and had outperformed other leading lifestyle shows such as the Great British Baking Show, 2 seasons of Chef's Table, and season 9 of Queer Eye. Industry sources had already told Page 6 that Netflix CEO Ted Sarandos remains a huge fan of Harry and Meghan Markle and regularly dines with them. I mean, even though they're dining and things like that, when it comes to business, I think they are professional enough to know when to separate the two. Alright? You know the saying, it's just business. What was it? It's nothing personal. So, yeah. But anyway, this could happen too. When it comes to business, you know, the hats of personal is out of the question. You're thinking of the numbers. They all have obligation. They have bills to pay too. So they have to look at the numbers. Alright? I'm not sure. The chief content officer said they have things in the works aside from With Love. I think the obvious thing that's not being amplified, but that's in the People article, is Netflix is moving away from big deals. They use the Obama deals as an example. Tyler Perry signed with Netflix with a first look deal. It seems that's the clear direction Netflix is heading. Also, why partner with Meghan on her company if you don't believe in them? Ted said himself they're both overly dismissed. I think it's clear Harry has no interest in content production and wants to focus on his charity work. I think I think so too. Remember, Meghan was in that business and she knows the background of this thing, so she knows what she's doing. And and Harry's there to support her. I think if anything, a renewal will happen in a first look format, but with Meghan only. I think in this statement, when I was originally recording it, I wanted to respond to it. I was looking for this statement. I think if anything, a renewal will happen in a first look format, but with Meghan only. I went and did some research. You will see it later on about Invictus and With Love Meghan, the production. Harry and Meghan come in package. Okay? They cannot hire one without the other because their production is under both of their name. Maybe Harry will focus on the Invictus, as she said here, and Meghan will focus on her lifestyle brand. However, both of their respective work is under the umbrella of their company. That's what I was looking for, and I think I can't find this when I was first originally recording it. So when it comes to that, when I come to it, I'll point it out again. And honestly, if Meghan only does With Love, I still gag because I'm dying for holiday specials. Okay, I agree with you, Kaiser. If the Hollywood source is correct and there's no renewal, Meredith better handle it better than Ashley did with Spotify, because that was a huge misstep and very damaging when that a-hole called them grifters and they didn't punch back. It really doesn't matter. People move on all the time. Why do we make such a big deal about everything the Sussex do or didn't do? These crazy people will continue to say shit. I'm not sure why anyone would have thought that Netflix will renew the $100 million deal. They didn't even do that with the Obamas, as ever partnered with Netflix, so the show will likely continue to be renewed because it has a solid fan base and it also serves as market as ever production. Yeah, there's all of that. That is true. The exclusive deal will be replaced with the first look deal at Kaiser. Am I correct? Geez, so what? Renew or no? Renew or not renew, Harry and Meghan got their cut and they will move on to the next thing they have planned. Netflix will not be forever. However, people get to have a 5-year contract surely. It won't be the end of the world. It has given them a boost to their financial independence. That's another good point. Is everyone forgetting about the upcoming season with Love Meghan? I think after 5 years, the Sussexes production is ready to stand on their own, but they will have a different deal with streamers for their content. Okay, how did they handle the Spotify deal ended? I can't remember. Let's see this one. There's one comment here. They then pushed back when an executive who's an a-hole called them effing grifters, and that went viral and really was very damaging to them, and Ashley stayed silent. Bloody hell, thanks. This is my speculation, okay? Nobody knows. I'm just saying. I think what happened with the Spotify, there probably some disagreement, because when you look at after the Spotify, when the CEO, whoever it was, called them grifters, effing grifters, is because I think Harry and Meghan did not want to budge, and they're part of the agreement. So he was upset. There's a possibility maybe they wanted the right to the podcast. That's what I think. They wanted the right to the podcast, to Meghan's podcast, where, you know, they could air it over and over again, you know, without any, whatever the deal might be. Because the reason I'm saying this, when you listen to, if you go to Lemonada, you could still listen to the podcast, the first one that she did with Spotify, and on Lemonada. Because if Spotify had the right to it, even though Meghan created it, she will not be able to air it someplace else. She will have to ask Spotify permission, or there's some cut, some percentage on Spotify or whatever. So the reason the CEO, in my humble opinion, was so upset is because maybe Meghan did not want to give the right to the podcast. That's what I think. Okay? So he got upset, and Meghan was like, I'm leaving with my thing. Okay, it was already aired. They got their cut. She got her money, and it was aired. I don't know what. Another thing I think I spoke about this before, because when you listen to Meghan's podcast, within her podcast, there's commercials or advertisement. She does it herself within her podcast. If you guys listen to it. Okay, whatever company or brand she's promoting, she does it within her podcast. So she get the cuts from these companies. So maybe Spotify wanted a cut from it, and maybe that was not part of their discussion. So when Spotify was airing her podcast, whatever commercials they put within the podcast, I don't know. But I think some of the disagreement, perhaps, okay? Remember, this is my opinion, and I'm not knowledgeable in all these things, but you could pay attention to certain things here and there. I would assume because Meghan had her own advertisement, she had her own, how do they call them? Sponsors, that's it, sponsors within her podcast. And she's the one who did the sponsoring within her podcast. So maybe Spotify did not get a cut from that. And now that during the first season of her podcast, and Spotify realized that, oh, she's airing her own commercials within her podcast, they probably want a cut from it. And Meghan was like, no. Okay, so she left with her thing, and then you could still listen to her first season podcast on different outlets, Lemonada and other places, because she took it with her. That's what I think. So the CEOs were pissed. They should have thought of that at the beginning. But anyway, let's get back to the original recording. Okay. All right. So there's some really good response here. Whatever is here, let me read bottom up. It could be that they won't renew with Harry and will just sign Meghan to the new contract. But isn't Harry's work is under Archewell with the Invictus? Let me look that up. Okay, maybe it was this response I was looking for, and I went and searched for. So two comments had similar, but written differently, had similar objective about Netflix hire one without the other. So both of those comments are similar, and I went and searched for it. So this is the part where I went to do my research about if Invictus, even though I knew the answer, but I went to look for it so I could show you. Invictus and With Love Meghan and all the other shows that they had with Netflix, it's under the umbrella of their company. So if Netflix is making a deal with Harry and Meghan, it will be under their company. Okay, they cannot hire one without the other. Maybe they will word it in a way where it doesn't matter if there is an Invictus or if there is a With Love Meghan or whatever, but I would assume, well, I'm not a lawyer, so they're probably gonna make it very specific, okay, what they're gonna get, because Netflix has the numbers. They know when they air something, how much people watch the thing. So maybe Netflix wants a specific number amount, maybe from Invictus, maybe specific amount of numbers from With Love Meghan, or they just don't care as long it's either one of those, Invictus or With Love Meghan, or whatever. So the contract gonna have to be very specific. Okay, so this is where I went to search about Invictus and other work that they do, which under production that they are in. Okay, so this comment with the other one, almost the same. So I'll put them on the screen as I search for it. Okay, so let's get back to the original recording. Because they cannot have one without the other. Who create the Invictus production for Netflix? That would be the question I asked ChatGPT. I'm not sure if this is the right question. Who create the Invictus videos for Netflix? Or who produce? Maybe produce. Who produce? That's probably the who produce the Invictus videos for Netflix. Let's see here. Because if it's under Archewell, it doesn't matter. Yeah, there it is. The Netflix docu-series Heart of Invictus, which covered the Invictus games, was produced through a collaborative effort involved Archewell production. So Netflix is dealing with Archewell production. So even if they can, their content, they create their own content and then sell it to Netflix. The Sussexes' own company, Prince Harry and Meghan, under their multi-project Netflix deal. Okay. What other question I should ask? Yeah. So that's pretty much that. I think Netflix cannot have a deal without both of them. They come together as a pact. All right, so it's both of them, Harry and Meghan, under Archewell production. Okay, so let's ask who produced With Love Meghan. It's gonna be Archewell production. I already know who produced With Love Meghan videos for Netflix. It's gonna be Archewell production as well. Come on, hurry up. Okay, the Netflix lifestyle series With Love Meghan is produced by a collaboration between Meghan Markle's Archewell production and intellectual property cooperation. Okay, so Invictus and the things that Harry and Meghan are doing, it's under Archewell production. You cannot have one without the other. If they're making a deal with Netflix, whatever they produce, maybe, okay, Harry focus on Invictus and then Meghan focus on her work, the lifestyle kind of thing. Okay, you cannot have one without the other. So that was to respond. Was it this one? It could be that they won't renew with Harry, okay, and we'll just, you know what, let me take the screenshot of what I just asked and put it there. Okay, so I grabbed this. Who produced With Love Meghan videos for Netflix? I highlighted and underlined it. Archewell production. Okay, so there's all of that. Let me copy this, paste it over there. Alright, so let's paste that. Now let's grab the one that I said with Invictus. That's this one. Let me grab it and then highlight things and then I'll share it with you. Okay, so now I grabbed the part where I asked who produced the Invictus videos for Netflix. Archewell production, main production, Archewell, executive producers, Prince Harry. So Netflix cannot have one without the other. Let me pause and type something here. I think I put my screenshot in the wrong tweet. Do they have to stay with Netflix for the rest of their lives then, as it's already been half a decade? Okay, I put it in the wrong one. I'm not gonna publish this. I did all of that for the wrong thing, and I cannot find the question. Okay, so let's forget it. I did all of that, and I saw the question as if they're saying, do they have to have one without the other, as if Harry was gonna be hired and Meghan will not. But anyway, let's forget about this. I lose track. One tweet. Luckily, I read the statement. Let's go to the next tweet, and this is my last one. All right, it has to do with Netflix. Okay, there has not been a single day since Meghan left the UK that there hasn't been an article published about Meghan by British media outlet. They regurgitate previous trashy stories, and I wouldn't be surprised if the so-called insider or sources that make claims don't exist. Background noise. I think right now what they're doing here is bringing the old noise from the UK into the US. Okay, but what happened here, the squad, they just shutting them down. Okay, background noise. Harry and Meghan's £78 million Netflix deal is dead after as ever flap bosses are just waiting for credit to roll and side with slams. They don't know anything. Double-edged sword keeps her relevant. Without the media hate, would her be just disappear. She's the only person who attracts online traffic. Alright, so there's me here. I see this is going around. Not important. I forgot about this 17 hours ago. Who wrote this? Lorraine King. Okay, so I put this saying, is this not important? Why are they talking about Harry and Meghan? Okay, I put the screenshot because sometimes they mess up the links, so I put the screenshot as well. The insider may be the chief ironing board inspector in one of the minor palaces for all anyone knows. What do they mean by as ever flap? Alright, they love embarrassing themselves. Netflix is Meghan's business partner. Exactly. Alright, there's that here. Sorrento's praise of Meghan Sussex wasn't just a nice soundbite. It was based on hard facts. Meghan generates attention, sells products, and brings in numbers that matter beyond just streaming. While her critics continue to underestimate her, she keeps proving them wrong with results. Netflix didn't just gamble on Meghan. They made a smart investment, and the numbers prove it was the right call. Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. Alright, let's stop here. Okay, there's all of this, the Epstein, there's all of that. I don't want to go through that. Alright, let's do a prayer. Prayer for prosperity. And I have more on the list. I decided to stop here since I think I did group them very well. Let's do this one. And somehow I feel like I want to read the one at the bottom too. Prayer for prosperity. Father God, I ask for a blessing on my life and the lives of my family. I pray that you will remove the sting of sickness and disease from those attached to me. I pray that you will increase my influence amongst your people. Lord, that I may be able to glorify you more. I pray for abundance and prosperity in my home, in my church, in my career, and in my family. I know you are able to do abundantly above which I ask or think, and I thank you in advance. In Jesus' name, amen. Alright, so let's stop here. Please take a moment to subscribe, like, and share. If you want to support this channel, there's a PayPal link and a Cash App link in the description. You could donate. Those who have donated, thank you. Alright, so that's it. The next tweet that I'm gonna start with has to do with balcony. These people can't stop with the balcony. Okay, that. So, that's it. Thank you for watching.
a great privilege to be with all of you today.
You know, we ask for forgiveness and please come back.
As you saw me find the love and happiness that I'd hoped for all my life. You are all in this together. And if I may speak personally, we are all in this together. Because asking for help was one of the best decisions that I ever made. You will be continually amazed how life changes for the better